Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining and welcome to the Nolyvra product. Most tools that recruiters use today are built merely to store information, such as candidates, notes, stages, and many may even offer some reporting or insights on top. But at the end of the day, you're still the one moving things forward and you're doing this manually. So what ends up happening is a lot of your time isn't spent on hiring better, but rather spent managing the process itself. There are a few core areas within the recruiting process that tend to slow things down, especially around candidate evaluation and workflow coordination. Luckily, what we've built at Nolyvra is a shift away from that. As instead of just storing your data or surfacing insights, the platform starts to take action within the workflow. What I'll show you now is how that works in practice using a live example so you can see how Nolyvra can easily fit within your workflows. So to demonstrate this, I will create a job listing. Let's go ahead and create a artificial job. Let's go senior business analyst. In this section, you can input data such as the job title, the location, the company, and any other additional information that may be required for this role. Let's just go ahead and use this and generate the role. And as you can see, the job description has been created with all the key areas such as the job title, the location, the job description, key responsibilities, qualifications, and a quick summary at the end for the candidates to assess. So let's go ahead and save the job. From here, we're also looking towards distribution. So we're building integrations with platform like LinkedIn, Seek, Indeed, and other websites. So instead of manually copying, pasting the job description across different sites, the system will be able to publish it for you. So for the next stage, let me show you what normally takes recruiters 10 to 15 minutes per candidate, reduced down to seconds. So let's go over into the all candidates section. Let's go ahead and let's do a bulk analysis and let's select these. And done. Let's add these to the pipeline. And what we can also do is we can additionally add candidates individually. So let's just go ahead and select one that I created and let's run the analysis on this one. Now, as you can see, once we run the analysis, we get a candidate summary section, and this is where Nolyvra starts to shine. As instead of manually going through a CV line by line, you're presented with a structured view of the candidates, highlighting what actually matters. So at the top here, you get a quick snapshot of the candidate. So straight away, you can understand how they align with the role, how consistent their background is, and whether the candidate has any initial risks. What this does, it gives you an immediate sense of whether it's worth going deeper into this candidate, allowing you to prioritize more effectively, as instead of reviewing candidates in order, you can prioritize the top 20 to 30% of candidates. From here, the platform starts to break down the candidates into much more digestible format. So, and as you get a clear professional summary, followed by key strengths, any potential concerns, and suggested interview focus areas. So instead of interpreting everything yourself, you're given a balanced view up front of what they do well and where their gaps may be. Alongside that, you can see on the right panel, the system provides a recommendation as to whether to proceed and what to focus on. It does this by surfacing any risks and flags them early, and then identifies whether there are any skills mismatches, such as limited experience in certain areas or job inconsistencies. So even when you're moving quickly, nothing important is missed. There's also the recruiter notes. You can add anything, the AI verdict, etc. And as we scroll down, we get the CV versus LinkedIn consistency. Now, this area is another area which takes a significant time when manually processing CVs. So here the system automatically does this by Comparing the CV with LinkedIn, checking for any discrepancies between the timelines, job titles, and a candidate's overall skills alignment with the role. So instead of manually cross-checking, you can immediately see where things match and where there may be any discrepancies. Now, as you scroll down, you see the CV versus the job description capability alignment. And in this section, you can see which skills align with the role and where there may be any gaps. So instead of making a judgment based on, say, intuition, you'll be making a decision based on which skills the candidate has and how well it aligns with the role. As we go down into the capability matrix breakdown, the system breaks down the candidates into weighted capability areas. So this shows how the candidate performs across, a multitude of areas and where their biggest gaps are, and then combines for an overall rating, which is particularly useful when you're comparing dozens upon dozens of candidates in a consistent way. Then as you keep going down, there is the candidate profile verification section. This helps you assess how reliable and consistent the candidate's profile is. The section looks at things such as career progression, employment gaps, and overall consistency. So beyond just skills, you're assessing the overall reliability of the CV. And if, there's any AI generated keywords, potential risks, etc. Finally, the system provides an overall placement likelihood based on patterns across similar candidates. This section analyzes how well the candidate aligns with the job by identifying positive signals and potential risk factors, which may have, a relation to the advertised role. Once you decide to move forward, the system then generates tailored interview questions based on the candidate's profile and how well they align with the role. The interview questions cover many core areas such as behavioral, system design, leadership, domain, debugging, architecture, etc. And all these questions will be different for every single role at every single organization. From here, you can open the workflow. You can, if you want to approve for the next stage, whether it be a screening or an interview, Nolyvra will automatically generate a message for you and send it to the candidate directly on your behalf. So let's go ahead and let's move him to the interview stage. Let's update the stage and let's generate a message for Mr. Daniel Carter. So let's go ahead and generate this message. The interview date is scheduled. We will select that later as we progress, but let's go ahead and send an email. Actually, what we'll do is we'll leave this blank for now because we'll come back to this. So let's go back to Mr. Daniel Carter. Let's go back into the open workflow. Also, after conducting an interview, what you can do is you can move on to the interview analysis section. Now, this is another area where things end up being manual. What a lot of recruiters are doing right now is recording interviews, then taking the transcripts and pasting it into separate AI tools to get some kind of evaluation or summary when comparing to candidates. And as a result, it's fragmented, it takes time. So what we've done is we've brought it all together within one place. So let's go ahead and upload a transcript. Let's analyze that. Awesome. Once the transcript is uploaded, the system automatically breaks down the interview into a structured evaluation. So instead of reviewing everything manually, you get insights into what matters, such as the key strengths, the CV versus interview alignment, the interview summary, and notable moments and areas of concern. Nolyvra also allows for the ability to generate suggested interview questions. These questions are tailored to the candidate and the role. So instead of preparing questions manually or relying on generic templates, the system creates a structured set of questions based on the candidate's CV, the job requirements, and the analysis already performed. So let's go ahead and generate the questions. As you can see, the questions are grouped across multiple areas such as core skills, experience deep dives, behavioral fit, as well as identified gaps or risks. So you're not validating strengths, as you're also actively examining where more clarity is potentially needed. Each question has follow-ups, which allows you to go deeper during the interview process. So in summary, rather than walking into interviews with a generic list, you're equipped with targeted role-specific questions that help you assess candidates more consistently and thoroughly. Let's go ahead and save those questions. Let me just load all of these. Give me 1 second. As you can see, the bulk candidate analysis has loaded. So now, instead of spending 10 to 15 minutes manually reviewing each candidate, you're getting a structured end-to-end review in seconds, allowing you to make faster, more informed decisions, turning hours of work into minutes. And I've only uploaded 5, but you can upload as many as you have for your particular role. So let's move on to another core feature of Nolyvra. So this is another feature which makes Nolyvra fundamentally different from anything else. As with most platforms, the user is required to navigate workflows themselves. However, with the Cowork AI feature, you're able to interact with AI to command outcomes efficiently for yourself. Essentially, the Cowork AI feature transforms recruiting into three core capabilities, such as retrieval, analysis, and action. So the first is retrieval. So let's test it by asking questions such as, what jobs do I have open? From here, the feature instantly accesses your pipeline data and searches through your current jobs, candidates, and hiring statuses, giving you the results without you having to manually search anything. The second capability was analysis, so asking questions such as which candidates best suit the role. So this feature, after being prompted, will evaluate how well the candidates fit based on quantitative and qualitative metrics, such as the candidate's summary to support your decision making. Now, this one rates them all on a placement probability of 85, as their CVs were quite similar. So let's also um, add the risk factor to each candidate as well. So all of these ones which I selected, they all have a medium as well. So let's just go ahead and pick one to demonstrate the third capability, which is action. So questions such as schedule an interview with the top 5 candidates for a specific role and then book them in when I'm next free. After being prompted, the Cowork AI feature executes these actions by scheduling interviews, sending emails, and updating pipelines automatically, saving you potentially hours. So let's go ahead and try this out. Schedule an interview with, let's go, Michael Tan. Let's go 21st of April, the Tuesday after tomorrow at 9 a.m. So after being prompted, it will automatically confirm this action on your behalf. Perfect. Now moving on to the AI talent search section. This is another feature of Nolyvra, and what it allows you to do is not only analyze candidates within your system, but it also actively finds and sources out new ones for you. We're currently integrated with LinkedIn, Seek, and Indeed, and other large talent databases. So instead of searching across multiple platforms, the system identifies passive candidates that you already align with what you're looking for. From here, you can add these new candidates into your pipeline. And once they are in your workflow, you can run the same analysis, evaluations, and actions as we've gone through. Let's go ahead and test it out. Senior business analyst in Melbourne. So as you can see, I have many internal candidates within my database. And right now it has actively found 3 profiles. So rather than spending time sourcing, filtering, and manually screening, you're able to identify them, bring them in, and find the right candidates faster all within the same system. Currently, right now it's three, but we plan to expand to hundreds. As we go on to the interview scheduler, let me just refresh this page. Perfect. What this does is it centralizes how you organize and manage upcoming interviews. So it integrates with tools such as Outlook and Google Calendar. So instead of coordinating everything manually, your schedule handles it within the system. You're able to move candidates through different stages, adjust times, and manage availability all in one place. And importantly, this ties directly into Coworker AI. So instead of manually organizing interviews, sending invites, and updating schedules, you can simply prompt the system and it will handle it for you. So rather than spending hours coordinating calendars and moving candidates across stages, the entire process becomes automated and streamlined. So let's go ahead and pick Mr. Daniel Carter, as we said earlier. I think I already booked him in as I tested it out earlier. So let's just do it again at 9 a.m. tomorrow, the 20th. And let's add this to my Google Calendar. So it is automatically done. As you can see, it has been added. Also, in the email center section, you can manage all the candidate communications in one place. So instead of writing emails from scratch each time, you are able to use these pre-built templates for things like interview invitations, job offer letter emails, rejection emails, etc., which helps standardize communication and save you time. To demonstrate this, I'll send a job offer to a candidate. So let's go with James O'Connor for the senior business analyst role. And let's generate a email. As you can see, once a template has been selected, the message is automatically generated with all the relevant details. From here, you also have full formatting control of the email, so you're able to structure the message however you want. And at the bottom, your signature is automatically included. Once sent, everything is tracked within the system, so you have a clear history of communication with each candidate. So rather than switching between tools or manually writing and tracking emails, everything is handled in one place, making communication faster, more consistent, and easier to manage. Also, in terms of data security, we ensure that all candidate data is encrypted, siloed, and not exposed to any third-party AI systems, ensuring that the data stays exclusively with the user. In terms of system accuracy, all decisions are backed by structured scoring and signals and not just random AI generated text. Also, relating to your current systems that you operate with, Nolyvra is built to sit alongside your current workflow and is designed to enhance them. As the intention here is to ensure that the final control always remains with the recruiter. In summary, once teams start using this product, they will see a major reduction in time spent on screening, decision making, and coordinating, which is where most of the overhead sits. Then finally, rather than focusing on pricing, the best way to understand the value of the system is to run it with your own candidates and workflow. So right now we're offering early access, so you can get started on the free trial and use it within your current processes. That way you can see exactly how it fits into your workflow before making any decisions. Additionally, as an early user, your feedback also directly shapes how the product evolves. So if you're on board, let me set you up with a free trial.